Buenas tardes, bienvenidos a todos. 16 de noviembre, nos decían a Javi y Josefina, ese es el gran día, el día en que llega a Madrid el mayor espectáculo deportivo del mundo, el que llega la NFL por primera vez oficialmente. Y yo os propongo una cosa, antes de hablar con ellos, vamos a ver un aperitivo de lo que está a punto de llegar. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much. So, welcome everyone to our panel on the global reach of American football, on the NFL brand, on the Miami Dolphins brand. We are incredibly fortunate to have two of the leading voices of the NFL today. Garrett Mayer, Managing Director, Head of International of NFL. Buenos días. Welcome, Garrett.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
And Pri Shumate, Chief Marketing Officer of Miami Dolphins. Bienvenida, Pri. ¿Qué tal?
Buenos días a todos.
So, Gary, to kick things off, my first question is an obvious one, and it's why Madrid? What was a specific criteria the NFL used to choose Madrid and Spain for hosting a first official NFL game?
Well, first of all, good afternoon. I apologize. I'm the only one sitting up here who doesn't speak Spanish, so thank you for having us. We're very excited. This is 2025. It's going to be an exciting year for the NFL. It's going to be an exciting year for Madrid and football in general. It was actually not that difficult of a choice. So a few years ago, as we started looking how we think about growing the NFL and football internationally, we started looking at markets from a fan perspective. We looked at it from a sports affinity perspective. We looked at the culture, kind of what we like about cities and the countries we go in is like when they become really a place where everybody can come together and enjoy themselves. For us, American football is really a game where people come together to spend time, to experience the game, whether you're a fan or not. We fully appreciate that around the world, a lot of people are not yet really full, avid American football fans. But what we do see is when we can bring a game to a city, it brings so much together. So when we started looking at Spain, and when we started looking at Madrid, and we started meeting the region of Madrid, as well as the city of Madrid, them showing us around this beautiful city, when we got to experience the beautiful food that we were able to, with the sports affinity, and then of course with Real Madrid and the stadium, one of the iconic stadiums in the world, it was pretty easy decision for us to say it is quite obvious that as an NFL thinks about expansion that we have to come to Madrid and play a game in this beautiful city.
Ya lo habéis oído, la cultura, el deporte, la comida, el Santiago Bernabéu, los partners que ha encontrado la NFL. Pri, what does this game mean for Miami Dolphins international ambitions? Because there is a big connection, LATAM connection between Dolphins, Madrid. So what are you expecting from this game?
Ya, nosotros, no, en inglés. ¿Inglés o español? Vamos en inglés.
Os están pidiendo que votéis, inglés o español, ¿qué preferís? A la gente le da igual. They speak both, English and Spanish. Do what you want.
I'll do in English and add a little Spanish in the middle.
It just shows why the Dolphins are the right team.
See, there you go. There you go. Exactly. I'll start right where Garrett left off here. I think for us, our goal is to be the football team for the Spanish and Portuguese speaking countries. And of course, Madrid is a central piece of that puzzle. There are so many things that unite the beautiful city of Madrid and the beautiful city of Miami. And so we want to strengthen that bridge. That bridge already exists. We feel like we're going to be the team that keeps going back and forth, and that really helps to strengthen football here. There's a couple of things that are really special. Obviously, we talked about the connection between culture and food, but there's a connection around a passion for sports, right? And I think that we have seen such incredible curiosity around football, hunger for football. And I have to say, you know, we were here back in January doing the announcement with the NFL, and people loved the Miami Dolphins. We had our mascot TD walking around on the streets. We had the cheerleaders, and people were so excited about it, more than I expected. So we started our investment here actually several years ago. When the NFL created the Global Markets Program, we were the first one to say, hey, we want to be in Spain. And so that came through. We're already connected through our fan club here. We have a very active fan club. And we really believe that, you know, in these next months into the journey, we're doubling into the game, we're doubling down our investment. So that's what this represents for us, is an opportunity to do what we have started and to go deeper on this connection between Madrid, Miami y los Miami Dolphins. Queremos ser la equipo de Madrid.
Pri, it's impossible not to love aquamarina color.
Aquamarina, aqua.
So allow me just a personal question, because you're both referring to this city and what Madrid can offers. What do you love for this city? What do you prefer from Madrid?
So I've had the opportunity to come here not many times, but a few times. And every time it just amazes me about the energy that you have in this city. It just never stops. And again, we talked a little bit about there's a sports affinity, which is very important, but there's also, you know, a cultural affinity, and there's a certain curiosity. I think it speaks for the city that there are just so many nations, so many people from all over the world kind of coming together on an annual basis. So I think it speaks for the openness and the curiosity. Pri just said it. There's a certain curiosity that I always find fascinating, and there's always, every time at least I come here, you experience something new. And so we knew that with a stadium like that of Real Madrid in the center of the city, if you look at a lot of the games that we've been playing around the world, is none has been so central, embedded in the city. And I think what you will see is that energy, that curiosity, that leaning in will make it an extremely memorable experience. But so far, every time I've come here, that was kind of like, for me, just every time I came back and I was energized.
What about you, Pri?
I love the people. Soy brasileña y aquí en Madrid me siento en casa. La verdad, the reality too is just like Miami, this is a very international city, right? So that when we talk about the people, we're also talking about this openness and just wide-eyed. Yesterday, I went to the drinks that kind of were the welcome reception for this event. And then I walked around for 2 hours in the city of Madrid, and it's just absolutely lovely. I felt welcomed. I felt there is, you know, as Garrett mentioned, an energy that's really special here. And because of my background as a Brazilian, because we have the Miami Dolphins that are a team that represents a very international community, I feel right at home, and I love you guys.
Let's dive into the future, international expansion of the NFL. What are the strategic priorities for the NFL for international growth? How does a landmark game like the Bernabeu's one fit into that strategy?
I mean, we've been talking for the last few years that, you know, the game of American football specifically is something that we see ignites and unites equally kind of around the world. We fully appreciate that as a sport, we're a challenger brand. We're just starting out, as big as we are in the United States. that's the only country we're big in, right? So we're very big there, but only in the United States. So for us, it's very important that we learn from the countries that we go in, and we bring some of that kind of enthusiasm that we think the game brings for families. And so what we're seeing really is that as we come to a market like here, that's just the first step. So it's very, very important for us. The game is not the beginning and the end of it, it's the beginning. So we are right now in the process in Spain, here in Madrid, we are hiring permanent staff for the NFL Madrid office going forward. It is very important for us that we use this game, but that game is only one day. And everything leading up is going to be great. The game is going to be even better, but really the exciting part for me is what's happening afterwards. It is the year-round activation, committing to a market like Spain on an ongoing basis. We believe we have a great future here, very much like other markets. We select very carefully. We don't go into too many markets. Last year, we went to Brazil. That was the first market in a while. Germany was really the first expansion market after having been in basically with Canada, Mexico, UK, markets that we've been in a long, long time. So we select very, very careful because we want to make sure that once we go into a market, that's the beginning of a great relationship. And now with the partnerships that we're starting to have, we believe that's the beginning, not just for the NFL or for the game or for the Dolphins, but actually for the game of American football.
Este es un mensaje importante. La NFL no viene para jugar un partido e irse, viene para quedarse con una estructura estable para convertir España en uno de sus mercados principales de expansión. Pri, let's talk about the Global Markets Program. The Dolphins have chosen Spain for a long time to expand, to create fandom. This is about enhancing brand presence and connect with local audiences and local fans. So how are the Dolphins going to leverage this program? How are you going to connect with Dolphins fans and future Dolphins fans?
Well, first of all, I think that we truly understand that the more we understand about the people of Madrid, the more we'll be able to create a real authentic connection to fans. So for us, the way we're starting to do that is we're connecting with local brands that want to partner with us. We're connecting, for instance, with the people that have been already in this market and that have been shepherding the game, like the Madrid Bravos, for instance, is a group that we're working with and that we want to continue to work with as we go forward. We have clinics with them that we're going to do in July here in Madrid. We are working also with the Football Federation in Spain. So we are learning from the people that are here so that we know how to connect football to them. We have Hugo, who is the head of the local fan club here.
A very famous person in the NFL
one.
Spanish community.
That's right, and we actually brought him into the draft. We got him into the NFL draft this year. So I think that, you know, our message is that we're here to learn. We're curious and interested. We want to work with people that are here locally, that know about this market and that can lend us some credibility as well. We believe that there is a passion already for the Miami Dolphins, which is really helpful. You know, I think that we're starting at a really good spot, I have to say.
Pri, you have talked about curiosity. Let me be curious. Are your players going to have a big role? Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, are they coming to Spain? Are you going to use them here?
They are definitely coming to Spain. Obviously, when they come for the game, they're going to be focused on winning the game, right? We're not messing around here. But we definitely want to get them more ingrained in the community. Last week, we had what we call Media Day. All the NFL teams have Media Day where they capture content for the entire season. And every single one of our players did messages in Spanish, getting ready for our entrance into this market. And the players are super curious. And I have to say, I'm very lucky that this is happening today. But we have the Real Madrid game happening in Club World Cup at our stadium, Hard Rock Stadium, tonight. So what a great thing to be able to say that today we have 23 of our rookies, of our NFL Dolphins rookies, going to the game to watch Real Madrid. So when we talk about a bridge and when we talk about connection, it's really happening, you know, and we want to make sure that we have shared experiences, both introducing our players to things that are of the city, like Real Madrid and like football, and also utilizing, bringing people from Madrid into Hard Rock Stadium so that they get to know us from the inside out.
So we have 23 new Madridistas today. That's good to know.
Exacto.
So a summit like this one is a place for partnerships, to make people meet different institutions, clubs, sports. And partnerships are key for the NFL in a global venture like this one, these international expansions. You have strong partnerships with the town, con el ayuntamiento, with the region, con la Comunidad de Madrid, and of course, with Real Madrid and Santiago Bernabeu. Gerrit, can you elaborate a bit more about the significance of these partnerships for you?
Well, quite simply, without those, we wouldn't be here. And again, there were very deciding factors. I remember a year ago, before we made the announcement, we walked around the city for about 3.5 hours, I believe. And the city was showing us, and the region was showing us all the different sites, and already with the game in mind. And what was so impressive was, for us, it was just kind of a tour of the city. For them, it was an illustration of what they saw was already possible, about activations, and this is where it comes in. This is not just about the opportunity to, let's call it, rent a stadium. This is about a city, a region, a partner like Real, leaning in and understanding what this can be and what it should be. Because for us, it's not just those partnerships. Like, we're still learning. Pri just said it earlier. We don't know much about this market. We have to learn from all of you about what we need to do. It is very important that when we bring the game, to Pri's point, it's a regular season game. It counts. It's part of the season. It's not an exhibition game. So when the teams come, they want to win. It's a home game for the Dolphins, so it matters. But what it does around it, us integrating ourselves into the fabric of the country and the city, is very important, and that we can't do alone. That's learning that comes after years and years and years of being in a market, but even then. So for us, partnerships, whether those are strategic partnerships, whether those are commercial partnerships, whether they're political partnerships, only because of those partnerships can we be successful in a market.
Partido oficial, and for those who know the NFL, para los que conocen la NFL, a game in November means a lot for the competition. And Pri, how do you plan to work with or engage with partners to enhance the Miami Dolphins brand, to elevate Miami Dolphins brand? What are your plans?
Yeah, look, there's two ways that we really want to do that. One is growing the sport, right? And so I already mentioned our partnership, for instance, with Madrid Bravos. We're doing this work with them in July. We're very excited to come here, and we're going to be doing Dolphins clinics in Madrid. The objective there is to get people excited about the game, get kids participating, get people learning about the game as well. So, and we don't want to just come ourselves and then leave and then not have anyone. So the partnership with the Bravos will allow us to, through them, then continue the Miami Dolphins legacy in the marketplace. So it goes right back to the fact that alone, we can't do it, right? So it's really important for us to have these partners. And then in addition to growing the game and the participation, we want to grow kind of the cultural excitement and get it into the zeitgeist, you know, and that you do with influencers and influential voices, with athletes, right? So Vinny Jr., for instance, is one of the Real Madrid athletes that we've brought to our facility to experience it. He spent time with the players. Jude Bellingham had an opportunity to do the same. So they experience what we have to offer. They go to shows. At the Hard Rock Stadium, we also do the F1 Miami Grand Prix, and we do the Miami Open of tennis. And we've hosted several influential madrileños, gatos y gatas, in our home. And then they have that experience and share with their audiences. And so I think, the message is, we want to grow the game. We want to infuse it in culture. We want to make sure that people understand it and love it. And we want to do it consistently, So the game is going to be this big thing, but we've been doing it. We've been building, right? Every month, every week, there's something happening. Again, I mentioned like the inclusion of Hugo in the draft. It was a really key moment. We also saw the fan club and did watch parties back in January and February. So every month we're working towards something as we get to the big game in November, and then again after that it continues, right? It's consistently.
Yeah, we always talk about, the athletic relevance, and of course it is super relevant that the sport itself kind of prevails the day off. But what people will take away is the cultural relevance. People will see it as much more than there was a football game. They will see it a lot more as there was a moment in time, especially the first one, but we're still seeing it in some other countries where we've already had the opportunity to play a few years in a row. What we're seeing is that the cultural relevance and what it does to the fabric of everything from media and music and arts and the culture itself is a really, really big part of us. And that's what we're excited about. So while an NFL game is always going to be an NFL game, especially because it's a regular season game, it will feel very specific to the country and the city that we're hosting it in because of all those elements. And that gets the players excited. That gets the coaching staff excited. That gets the teams excited. Because that is so big, especially when we play in a stadium like here, that it's going to make it a very, very memorable moment.
I'll share a little personal story. When I went to the NFL game in Brazil last year, the Dolphins weren't even playing in it, but we were one of the most interesting invisible teams because of our beautiful colors. Aqua, aqua, aqua. No, but what was really interesting is that in Brazil, there's a song called Evidências that is typically sang in football games. And the audience started to sing it in the middle of the NFL game. And at first, the song is a bit long, and the play had ended, and the players were like, do we start? Do we not? There's a whole cultural thing that happened there. They utilized that song, and that song isn't something that they would utilize if they weren't comfortable. Like it immediately became ingrained in the fabric. I'm getting goosebumps as I speak about it.
And everybody kept singing. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the games kind of continued, and the crowd was still singing at that time.
And it was one of the things amongst Brazilians that got shared more than anything, across their social networks, etc.
So what song will we hear in Madrid then?
Yeah, what song will we hear?
We'll see. Do not ask.
All right,
I'm not choosing the song for the Madrid game.
No. I think the fans and everybody attending, we should be with.
We'll find it.
I know what song it's going to be. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins.
So, bueno, lo estáis oyendo. Viene el fútbol americano a Madrid, pero el fútbol americano es más que fútbol, es cultura, es espectáculo, son conciertos, va a ser relevancia cultural. But it will happen at Santiago Bernabéu. Our city is worldwide known by Prado Museum and Santiago Bernabéu. I don't know if that's the right order. What does it mean for you, for Miami Dolphins, to play in such a historic venue?
Look, the players are really, really excited that they're playing at Bernabéu because they understand the magnitude of the stadium. They understand the history and all of the beautiful moments that were already that already happened there. So they're coming in with actually more excitement because they want to live up to the stadium. you know? So they're coming in like just ready to rise to the moment. They want to create their own sport moments at Bernabeu because they really understand how iconic it is and everything that's happened there before them. And I think I would say one last thing, because it's, you know, it's a symbol of innovation, right? That is so important. And I think for us as a Miami Dolphins organization, we look at what happens around the world, and certainly Bernabeu has been a reference to us. And so it's an honor both from a team perspective and an organization perspective.
Y como Vinicius y tú ya se han hecho amigos, porque son amigos, pues eso ayuda. Staying in Spain, Gerrit, Miami Dolphins, but also Chicago Bears have both global markets program rights here in Spain, but now Kansas City Chiefs, the team of Patrick Mahomes, have chosen Spain also to be inside that program. What does it mean for the growth of the sport here in Spain that another team has entered the club?
It's very important, and maybe for anyone who is not familiar what the Global Markets Program actually is. So for the NFL, it works a little bit different than some of the other leagues and sports around the world. When and if one of our teams would like to go into a market to market themselves and have, not just from a commercial perspective, also just straight up for fandom creation, etc., our teams can't just go. They are applying for a license that they get, which in itself doesn't cost actually any money. It is more about, do you have a plan? Do you know why you want to go? So as Pri said, the Dolphins was the first team for Spain because there's a very, very clear plan what the Dolphins have for Spain. So no club just goes to a market without a plan. They don't just kind of come here and say, let's see what we can do, and if it doesn't work out, we leave again. We make sure that through the Global Markets Program that every license that is being given to a club for a market, right, is based on some real ambition and also investment behind it. So seeing that we now have another team that is that committed to the Spanish market, I think is a really good sign about where Spain ranks in our priority as part of our global expansion. And so I think with more teams in the market, it will help grow the game. I think it will grow the awareness. It will definitely grow the number of events. Again, we always have to remind ourselves, this is not just about the one game that we're going to have November 16th, 2025, here in Madrid. But this is also beyond, and the game is not just tackle. The game is also flag. So what those teams bring into market is also a lot of flag activation. Flag football is very accessible for boys and for girls at a much younger age, much more so than tackle football is at a later age. So for us, it is very important that these programs and these activations that the clubs bring to the market also speak to the growth of flag football, because that is a highly inclusive sport. It's a highly accessible sport, whether it's offered through the schools or as part of the club. And so a lot of those partnerships help a year-round activation in a lot of the communities around the countries that we're in. So having more clubs, to your question, having more clubs in a market like this will only help it, and I think the Chiefs are a great additional team for the market.
And Pri, you are one of those three teams. You chose Spain some years ago, but that was a past. Let's talk about the future. What are your upcoming plans, your long-term vision for Spain? And if you want to tell the audience that I'm not lying, that Tua and Vinicius are friends, you can go.
No, there are lots of relationships actually between our players, which is great. Again, I think, you know, that's one of the things that we will continue to shepherd is just facilitate that connection, because the reality is, again, there is so much between our two cities, right? We see ourselves in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. We see ourselves as a global destination for sport and entertainment. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we are in Miami. And I think that here is the same thing. Like, the way that we can activate in Spain and in Madrid specifically is different than we could in other countries. We feel like this really is an international connection of sport and culture. And so we're going to do everything with those two strategies, right? Growing the game and growing its relevance and culture. We're not going to make it complicated, and we're going to do it consistently.
And you know, maybe that everyone says that Madrid is the new Miami. It might help, no?
That's
Don't you
right.
think so?
I've heard that Madrid is the new Miami. But I love Madrid more than Miami even sometimes. I mean, you guys, last night walking 2 hours in the city, like the energy is so good. So I think it's really like they're keen cities. One isn't the new the other. They're just both like absolutely sister cities, and we're gonna leverage that.
We're talking about Latino culture. We know it's also our culture, Garrett. And Latino culture is also a powerful trigger for the NFL. We see programs, I don't know if you're aware, but there's a so beautiful program called Por la Cultura, which unifies all the Latino world for the NFL and Latino realities. So how is the NFL working to embrace and integrate that trigger, that Latino culture, into these global expansion efforts, like building a bridge between Spain, LATAM?
Yeah, I mean, the inclusion of culture for us is very important as a league in general, regardless where we're going. But I think the Latino culture especially is even more important given the influence it has domestically in the United States. What we're seeing with regard to our influence in Mexico, in South America, now in Spain. You know, I'm not going to make any announcements today about halftime shows or pre-game shows, etc. You have to wait on that. But I think if you look at Brazil as an example, just because it was our newest game last year, I think we quite successfully listened to the market and to the city and tried to integrate local artists. We tried to, both from murals in the city all the way to the halftime show that was very relevant with an international Latina superstar, Anita. We try to create the relevance in the art in everything that we do from a programming. You will see it in the build-up. Again, it's not just a game. We're going to be building it up in the city and in the region as we get closer and closer to the November date, especially once the season starts. So I think you will see a lot of those integration. And again, we want to learn. So there's still a lot of learning for us to be had. We welcome everyone's opinion. We would love to hear from everyone's thoughts about what you would like to see. Again, and I'm addressing that freely to an entire nation here, because we believe that we can be at our best the more we do the listening and integrating local culture in everything that we do.
You know, I'll add just one thing. What's really special for us as the Dolphins is because our home also has football, tennis, and F1. You guys are obviously getting an F1 race, which is really exciting, but we get that crossover of
I think they're pretty
athletes.
good. They're pretty good at tennis too, I heard.
That's right. But you know, this year we had Carlos Alcaraz in our event. We had Carlos Sainz in F1. So I feel
All
like
the Carlos of the world.
all
were
the
there.
Carlos of the world. So I feel like we're constantly connected, you know, throughout the year, whether it's on the football field or in the rest of our facility. And we're going to continue to leverage those relationships to show up here and create more interest for American football.
And of course, regarding Spanish language, no os olvidéis el trabajo de NFL España, recientemente creado en Instagram, en TikTok, Mundo NFL, a global channel, global social channel in Spanish for the NFL. So it helps a lot to connect between all the countries and all the fans. What about Spanish Dolphin fans? What can they expect in terms of fan events, consumer products? Everyone wants to buy Miami Dolphins jerseys. How is this gonna be possible?
We do want to dress the stadium in aqua for sure. So again, we can't reveal too much, but as I mentioned, next month we will be back here doing these Junior Dolphins clinics with the Madrid Bravos. We're very excited about that. There may or may not be a product component of that. As we go into the future, we also want to, again, you know, work with partners to make sure that we have the right collaborations going into November. So much like Garrett was saying, we're open to ideas, to partnerships, to folks that want to come and chat with us about how we activate in the market. And we have lots of things planned every month, and they keep getting bigger. So That's all I'm going to say for now.
Maybe I'm risking too much, but we can call it Santiago Bernabeu. Let's think about it. What about just to finish, Gary? What's your ultimate vision for Spain in the upcoming years? Let's say the NFL's vision in the next 5, 10 years. And of course, what can we expect to see in the next weeks, I'd say even months until the 16th of November?
I think we're on a good path here. It's like the Dolphins took a very early step into the market last year. We launched the NFL flag program in Spain, which is now significantly growing and hopefully is serving as a catalyst. Again, it's not all about the NFL. This is all about the game in the end. And so if we're seeing, we have the Spanish Federation here, is whatever they can do to kind of grow it. We have, as we heard, there's an ELF team here in Madrid. So I think now with the announcement and this year coming to the game, as mentioned, we will be opening an office here. Our commitment to Spain is real, not just from a league perspective, but not also with 3 clubs in the market. So as you fast forward at 5 to 10 years from now, we will see the game grow. I think it will complement the country very well. I think the culture, the mindset, the enthusiasm for sports. Again, it's going to be all in partnerships, right? We understand the partnerships and the power that we have in partnering with soccer, with the soccer clubs, the soccer leagues, with La Liga. So for us, this is just the beginning of a journey that we believe is going to be very, very long and very, very fruitful.
Pri, from the Miami Dolphins perspective, besides winning the game, which are your aspirations for Spain and your expansion here in Madrid?
So definitely winning the game. And then, again, we want to see people connected to the brand. We want to walk around the streets and we want to see a Miami Dolphins jersey and not make it feel weird. Be like, oh, no, we don't want to be surprised. We want to feel, we want to see people wearing our jersey because they have a connection to the team, because we've touched their hearts, because we've done something in the community. And I have to say, this year, our mascot, TD, you mentioned La Liga, our mascot TD participated in the Liga de las Mascotas, in the Mascota Olympics.
We saw it.
Yeah, and he lost everything. So our aspiration is that next year TD does better and wins at least one event.
So Gary, Pri, thank you very much for this insightful and engaging conversation. You all know it, the NFL is not coming. The NFL is already here, is in Madrid, is in Spain, is here to stay. See you all November the 16th at Santiago Bernabeu.
Thank you.